Hi guys, and welcome to Rufus and Doofus. Chico and Rufus here today, and we're going to do a little follow-up on the unboxing of the buddy heater. So, I waited about, oh gosh, I've been using it now about 2 weeks, maybe almost 3. And I gotta tell you, I have nothing bad to say about this little heater. I give it a very positive review. It keeps the place nice and toasty. I don't crank it up all the way. Matter of fact, I've never had it past low. This is a ventless heater. I know that a lot of people out there feel that they're dangerous, and I imagine they could be if they're not used properly. But if you leave a window open or something for ventilation, make sure you have a very good carbon monoxide monitor, smoke detector, the whole 9 yards. I think that if you're responsible with it, you're going to be safe. Now, you know, it's called a ventless heater for a reason. You don't have to vent it. I can't imagine why people would think you'd put this, you know, outside or something. You don't. There's no chimney, nothing. The only way it works is ventless in your RV or in your house or in your garage or wherever you are, and as long as you have a little ventilation, you're fine. How many have been manufactured? In the millions. Millions. How many accidents have there been? I could only find one on the internet, and that was, I'm not sure if it was the owner's fault or not, and it had to do with a fire. It actually combusted, so, but I was not able to find anything about, you know, serious accidents with ventilation problems or carbon monoxide poisoning. Maybe I just couldn't find it. You guys are welcome to look. After all, it's your decision to purchase or not purchase. But let me give you an overview. This is the Buddy heater, the Big Buddy, and it uses 2 1-pound propane tanks, and they go on either side, okay? One there, one here. This little access panel opens up very easily. I'm kind of in an awkward position, but I'm still able to do it. And then there's a regulator here, and also a regulator on the other side. And you just, it's movable, by the way. It swivels in and out, and you can screw your propane tank into the regulator. So, you also have an option of using a 20-pound tank or larger. And the way you would do that is you would hook your tank up, which I have a 20-pound tank outside the window, and I run a hose in. Okay, but there's a lot of confusion on this hose that you purchase for this. There's 2 different hoses that you can use. One is going to be a regular hose with a screw adapter just like this. Okay, and it's going to plug into the same regulator that these plug into. So you could either plug it in on this side or the other side. You would just screw it on and put it on your tank. Now here's where the confusion happens. There is a filter that you are supposed to use with the Buddy heater. Okay, that filter is used with the hose that does not have a quick disconnect and a regulator, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what that filter does, okay, it filters out what is leached out of the hose by high pressure propane. So when you use a 20-pound tank and you don't use a regulator at the tank, you are getting high pressure propane into the unit, which will be regulated by the regulator that's built into the unit. If that didn't confuse you, I'll be surprised. But in any case, just remember that. No regulator on the hose. You will need a filter on this end of the hose connected to the Buddy heater on the regulator here. I hope I made that clear. Now, your other option, which is the option that I took, okay, is to buy a quick disconnect hose specifically made for this heater by the people that make the Buddy heater. That hose is a little more expensive, and what it does is it has a regulator that actually goes onto your 20-pound tank that you're going to use, and that regulator reduces the pressure from a high pressure to a 1/2 pound per square inch, which is about the same as the regulator you have on your RV. And what that does is it gets the gas pressure down to a point where it will not leach the materials out of the rubber hose. Therefore, you do not need a filter. Okay, so just remember that. Now, when I say quick disconnect, if you'll notice, well, you can't notice because I have it plugged in and I really don't want to unplug. All right, I'll unplug it. Well, no, I can't because I have a tank on. But in any case, there is on this side, the opposite side from where the on-off is and the temperature control, there is a fitting that is made especially for a quick disconnect fitting, and that's what I'm using. So it's very simple. There's no screwing on, there's no nothing, there's no filter that we have to put here, nothing. It's a third connector that's available on the Mr. Big Buddy, okay, not on the Little Buddy. It's not there. So this particular unit has that option, and that's what I'm doing. No filter, quick disconnect. My pressure coming into the heater is 1/2 pound per square inch. So that goes there, the little door shuts, makes it look like a nice little application, and everything works great. So, as I said, I use the heater on low. And let me just turn it on here so you can see how easy it is. Sometimes it takes more than one click. Alright, so now I've got my pilot lit here. You probably can't see it on camera, but I'm going to hold that down for a second, then I'm going to release it, and being that we're starting from cold, I'm going to let that run like that for about 1 minute. After a minute, I can turn this to the low, medium, or high settings. Low setting will only light one of these ceramic plates here. The next setting up, the medium will light both, and then the high setting lights them both, but with more power, so you get more heat. As I said, I've only used the low setting, so let's go to low, and there we go. And you'll see it flare up. All right, and right now that's igniting, and it's going to light up this plate on the left. I can already feel the heat coming out of it. So what does it use? Okay, if you're going to use these tanks here, I found out that running on low with 2 tanks installed, I got 10 hours out of it, 10-hour burn. I did not try it on medium, and I did not try it on high. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, 2 pounds, 10 hours, but I'll tell you what, it's pretty efficient. I mean, we're getting the total amount of heat. We're not running any fans in the RV, so it's not drawing down the batteries. That's what the big killer is. It's the drawdown on the batteries when you're using your furnace from the RV. Now this one here has the option with some D-size batteries that you can put in. There's a fan, and if you listen, I'll turn it on. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a fan which blows out some heat. Instead of using the batteries, I opted for the, which right now I can't seem to get up there, but let me unplug it. The adapter, okay, and that plugs into the back, uses very, very little power. Nothing, not even comparable to what the RV fan uses. And you can turn that fan on, or add this to it to make that fan run. I personally don't use the fan, even though I got the regulator. I think it was like $10. The voltage, the adapter is what I want to call it, not regular. Got them. I'll get you more confused yet. But in any case, that little AC adapter there plugs right into the back of the heater. So that's that. As you can see, the plate is glowing. All right, it's throwing out a lot of heat, and that's just on low. And it's not that cold out, so I'm going to turn this off. All right, but let me turn it up to high just to show you. All right, and you can see how much redder that got, and also the fact that the other plate on the other side is lighting. Now, even though that hasn't fully lit, I'm telling you, that's probably 4 or 5 times more heat than comes out of the one plate. So let me turn that down before I roast myself out of here, and I'm going to turn it off, and bingo, there we are. So very, very simple unit to use. You can't really beat the price. It's not bad at all. And as I say, it's up to you if, as far as you wanting to take a chance on it. A lot of people think that, you know, you're going to die from carbon monoxide and such. I think if you use the heater properly, you're going to be fine. Just remember to leave some ventilation, a window cracked or something, and someplace for the gas exhaust. And what I do is I leave my ceiling vent cracked a little bit. And I'll tell you, this thing works really well. A 20-pound tank works a lot better for me than using the little 1-pound cylinders. These are very expensive. They can be refilled with an adapter you can purchase, but it's still a lot more of a pain than just having a 20-pound tank that you use and run it for 10 or 15 days, depending on how long you run the heater. If you run it all night, please be sure to have some good monitors, carbon monoxide monitor, smoke detector and such, and be aware that animals could probably tip it over or whatever. Now, this does have a built-in tip switch. If the unit tilts at all, it's going to automatically shut down. The other thing it has as a safety is an internal oxygen sensor. So if you don't have the proper ventilation in your rig, and if this thing is burning, and if it burns up all the air in your rig because it can't get fresh air, it's going to shut off itself so that it doesn't use the oxygen that you breathe and suffocate you. Now, you think that might happen often in an RV? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know about you guys. My RV has more drafts. I mean, where you enter around the door, there's drafts there. There's also the battery compartment is right under my steps. I can see right down the ground through some cracks, so there's drafts there. The vents don't really seal that tightly. I mean, mine has a hood over it so that the rain doesn't come in, but I don't know how draft-free that is. I know that when people come in and they light a cigarette, the smoke goes right out there, so there's got to be a little leakage there. There's just plenty of room for drafts underneath the doghouse. That doghouse doesn't seal tightly. So, like I say, it's just this place is like open air, al fresco restaurant, if you ask me. That's how many drafts are in it. So in any case, that's my take on this. The important thing to remember is when you purchase it, to purchase the right hose if you are going to use the auxiliary tank rather than the 20-pound tank, rather than the 1-pound tanks. All right. So remember, if there's no regulator on the hose for the bigger tank, then you have to use a filter to filter out what's leached from the hoses with the high pressure. If you use the one that's got the quick disconnect, bada bing, all right, that's not going to require either one of those regulators to be used because there's going to be a regulator on the tank, and then you don't need the filter. So either way, it works great, okay? But that's probably the most important thing to remember when you order it. I was very confused about that, but when I finally got it straight and ordered the hose with the regulator, everything worked out great. Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Today is New Year's Eve. I want you all to have a really happy New Year, and I look forward to seeing you again next year. Okay, guys, don't forget to be happy, and take care. Bye.